for our customers. And some of the services include services like, for example, if customer wants to invest in the stock market, then, and if he's a beginner or any such kind of understanding he has, but one always needs some kind of reference. So where does he go and find like what to invest in, which are the good stocks as of now, or when should I pull out, when should I just sell my stocks? So this kind of understanding, if I have a lot of time, I can go and just go through certain websites and understand about them. But like, for example, people are not so free all the time, right? They're busy. So this, we are trying to make a service for saving their time, which gives them details about, like what I already said, what are the stocks available, what are the good stocks at this point of time to buy. And so kind of it provides a, kind of helper kind of a routine for them. Apart from this, so yeah, that is what the first part was. And another part was social network analysis, which we were going to use. So how we have seen often there are many platforms. For example, one I saw was it was called in I'm not remembering the name, just a minute. Yeah, so it was called, yeah, IQ Broker, something like that. So what they do, they provide you with, like, they are just a platform for this investment and stuff, but they also provide with you the you with the knowledge of what to go for. But what they do is basically they just filter some tweets and they just show you the tweet directly, that okay, this is a tweet about a particular commodity that is going up, or its stocks might its price might rise, so you just focus on that. So simply, it's not a very kind of smart, I should say, or maybe user friendly. So that is what domain we are basically focusing in, to automate such stuff for our customers, so that we can directly like provide them a platform where they can understand what to go for, what to choose, when to get your stocks out, when to sell them to make the maximum profit. And yeah, of course, I was talking about social network analysis that we are going to do. So we started this with, basically we have talked about Twitter. We may use other social networks also. So we'll kind of get, where do we get this data from, as of like what, like how are we going to churn this information about what is better or what not. So we were thinking of, like, we had a talk of something related to social network analysis, which we are also doing in patent side. So we were on such discussions.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Shubham. Very nicely done. And
Yeah, yeah.
Dharya has joined in. Dharya, thanks for being here. I thought maybe you would not be able to join in. Thanks a lot. So anybody who wants to leave early, because this call will take some time. So if you want to leave early, then I'll interact with you first, and then you can leave. This might take some time. Okay. Dharya, can you share as to what is your understanding of what we are trying to do in pyFinTrader? I have discussed with you, I think, twice in detail. If you can share what is your understanding.
Yes, so according to my understanding, it's like we'll be evaluating the company, and according to it, we'll be projecting the expected prices of its stocks, or the overall expected earnings.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. But how will we do that? So the fundamental analysis part of it, which I discussed with you. So what is your understanding of how to do a fundamental analysis in place of a technical analysis?
So you want to know, like, how are we going to analyze the company, or what? Sorry, I can't understand.
The fundamental analysis part of it, like how will we how people generally do it, the manual process
Okay,
of
okay, the
looking at,
manual process.
yeah, the looking at a balance sheet, the looking at income statement, and
So it's basically like for the what do you say? Uh, for the stock market, it's like we see the macroeconomic view of the country on a whole, and then the industry specific understanding of that. If we are evaluating for example Britannia, so we'll be understanding the industry specific ideology and looks what people are expecting, and then we'll be evaluating the company according to the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement.
Right. So that balance sheet evaluation, income statement, cash flow statement, and some kind of dividends given to the shareholders. What is the average stock price and all that calculation? Usually, how does that happen? In case anybody understands, it's not only a question for Dhairya, but if anybody understands, how is that usually done, and who are the people who do that? My question has two parts. How is it usually done, and who are the people who do that?
So basically, it's like there are certain ratios like current ratio, or quick ratios, and all that stuff, which judge like liquidity of the company, and what do you say, the how valuable the company is from the ratio. If we are taking example of P by E ratio, it is going to tell us, like price to earning ratio, it's going to tell us how much earning are we going to get from these invested stocks. There are certain ratios from which we can evaluate them.
Right. So that is one part of it. The other part of it, what I requested you to do in the session. So if you can quickly just help everybody understand, what are you going to do in that session? What are you going to share with us?
We are having a historical data of example any company ABC. So we are going they are have we analyze the data and make them a proper work set of that. So what we are having is historical stock data. So we'll be calibrating that data according to regression models. So for that, in the regression model, I have planned for using Facebook data, and as similarly, I'll be working for the logistic regression. I have planned for using insurance data, or most probably the car company data. If a, if a company is judging if someone is willing to buy the car or not, and similarly I'll be working on other like random forest also.
Excellent.
So it's going to be an analytical approach, and on how the back thinking of these algorithm works.
Wonderful, Dhairya. Thank you so much. So you'll be doing all of this with Excel only. I think that is what you had told me, or there is some Python code now.
I'm working on the Python code also.
Excellent. So on this call, I don't see anybody who doesn't code Python. Okay, so all of them are experts in Python. So if you need any help after the session, so that's how the team will be formed. Okay, so this team, the guys who are here right now, and a few more whom I have already spoken with and who unfortunately can't make the call right now. This team which will work on pyFinTrader. Right. So till now, most of you understand what is digital cognition. Digital cognition is generic. It is not necessarily focused towards any particular domain. But pyFinTrader is focused towards a domain, which is finance. Right. So the finance expert on the team is Dhairya. And maybe there will be few other people going ahead. I really can't say. But right now, as of now, it's Dhairya. Deepak has some experience earlier in finance. That's Deepak Sharma. And these two will be heading from a domain perspective, right? Rest of us will participate with them.
Rohit, just to correct you, I don't have any experience in finance domain, but I do have experience in ML and data science, etc.
No. Yesterday, what we discussed about you having experience on Tally and things like that. So it is not necessarily finance.
Yeah. Basic.
Yeah.
Basic. Yeah, I have.
At least have that exposure to that this thing. Okay. while
Yeah,
the rest of us might not have that exposure. So that is what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to say. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, so this is what it is. Okay. And besides this, Shubham, we've spoken with Akshat. Aviroop, I spoke with. Aviroop is not here, unfortunately. Akshat, I shared some things with you also. Any thoughts on what we are trying to do and what I shared? Anything you want to share right now? Akshat? Okay, that's okay. Rohan, Utkarsh, anything you guys want to share? Uh, okay. Yeah, Rohan, please go ahead.
Yeah, so nothing as of something. I haven't read it properly. I didn't understand. Like, to be honest, I didn't understand much. So nothing to share right as of now.
That's okay. Can you just maybe share the other thing that we've been talking about, the market mix modeling part of it?
Okay, so what me and sir had discussed was like we had just discussed in theory what we're going to be implementing. So what he had told me was to work on and research on some topics for market mix modeling. So that includes how companies usually segregate how they want to market for various products. So like suppose one product is we are marketing it through advertising through newspapers, and these are the various parameters. So what are the possibilities of getting sales from which parameter? So that comes in market mix modeling. So which suppose if maybe TV advertising is getting me more sales. So the company can usually they can maybe focus more on getting increasing sales or increasing the budget for that. So that's the basic idea of how it works.
Okay, I'll add on to this. See, the reason I'm telling Rohan to discuss this right now is that marketing is a separate function in the organization. Okay, it's not necessarily related to finance, but ultimately finance governs the budget for marketing, and most organizations have huge budgets for marketing. So again, we were both discussing that this thing yesterday. Uh, uh, Again, I forget the name of that organization. Amitabh Bachchan's ad for Rohan,
Just
Just Dial. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So Amitabh Bachchan's ad for Just Dial, Amitabh Bachchan comes on TV and says, "Okay, this is my phone," and throw out all these apps and this and that and all that stuff. How many of us actually knew Just Dial before that? I don't know. Maybe okay, I knew because of whatever reason. But most of us in India probably did not know Just Dial and don't necessarily care much about. Uh, yeah. So Warren says, yeah, we don't care much about Just Dial. But the point is that advertisement when it happened, and maybe you saw it on TV on that particular day. So that day, that advertisement stuck in our head because of two things. Okay, at least for me, it was two things. I don't know if one was that Amitabh Bachchan has come to give an ad. Okay, that's a rare thing. He doesn't do that much. Second thing is that he comes on this screen and he starts throwing away people's apps. So for a person like me who's got 20 apps on my system, I suddenly think, is this really possible? Like, are these just dial guys actually adding this value that I can throw away maybe rest of my apps? So yeah, so those were two things. But what is happening in market mix modeling is that there's another thing that gets linked to it, which is called ad stock. So we talk about stock price of organizations. We talk about stock of various things. Ad stock means that you go ahead and quantify what value advertisement is really adding to an organization. So there's obviously budget being spent on that, and humongous budgets being spent on that. So why would they spend so much budget on that in place of give it to the employees as salary, or maybe invest on something else? So they need to justify it to the finance department. and that's why this links into pyFinTrader. So wherever something links to finance, we will try and put that analysis or that analytics bit of it into this particular project, and that is how we'll kind of build upon this. Fine. So that's great. So now I'll just quickly go through few things. You need not understand most of these things. I have them in my notebook. I'll share links with you, but I want you to question me. Okay, if you don't understand absolutely what I'm talking about, you immediately stop me and question me in the chat. We'll take another 10 minutes, then we'll wrap up the call. Okay. So in case somebody finds it very, very uninteresting or something, so that's okay. You can leave now. We can share the this thing with you. But I want you guys to understand and you guys to question me. Now, what already Shubham discussed. The first task that all of us we will do, and we will all do it independently. Please don't share notes on this. Let's say you want to understand some organization's performance. Could be any organization, TCS, Infosys. Okay, I'll give you tech examples so that we can relate to them. Or any of the manufacturing organizations, or absolutely any organization that you want to understand the performance of. What are the 10 resources? 10 resources on the internet that you will go to find this information. So everybody just create a list of those 10 resources, and whenever you get time, just post it on Slack saying that these are our 10 resources that we will go to on the internet to get information about that organization's performance. That is the first thing. So that's where our thought process starts off from. That what is the available resources, how can we put them together, and how can we provide, how can we value add, and basically from this raw data, how can we get some insights that we can end up selling to somebody. So somebody has to be interested in buying all of this from us. We are not just doing it for the heck of it. Okay, the second thing is in finance, most people in today's date are either using Excel sheets, or they are using maybe to a great extent R. So I'm aware of some of these top consulting organizations who hire a lot of people who have financial background, actuary background, some kind of accounts background, corporate finance background, and they're training them on R, or they expect them to know R. Um, that's a good thing. So you become a financial analyst, you become a business analyst, you become a there are various this things. So actuaries also, so they are also a big market for R. All of them end up becoming individuals who do some analysis. Yeah, this thing, the big four. I'll give you. I'll not only give you this thing. I'll also share LinkedIn profiles with you. You see them. You understand what those guys are up to. Okay. I'll give you all that information. Don't worry. If I don't give you this information, I'm noting it down. Then you can also ask me in Slack, Rohit. Give us that information. Okay. Actually, profiles. I'm just writing down over here. I'll do that. Fine. So that is one. The other thing is, let's say you were to solve those problems for them. You were to provide a platform to them, and that is where Deepak's conversation with me yesterday. I had that conversation saying that when you have something like Tally, okay, when you have something like Tally, which is accounts this thing, you will end up giving Tally to the accounts department within an organization. If you have something like Oracle Financials for say payroll processing or other things, you will end up giving that to the finance department within the organization. But then there are so many things in the finance department that people are doing as individuals. So you hire a person, that person does that thing individually. There is no platform, there's no ready-made platform available for them. And we can also research this. So if you think, no, Rohit, there is already a ready-made platform and we can't necessarily compete with them or whatever, so I'm okay with that input. I'll take that input from you. So here are a few things I'm talking about, and I think Dharya, you please keep listening to this very carefully and tell me that yes, Rohit, these things can be automated, not automated. So from organizations analysis point of view, like Dharya said, that people would want to analyze the organization, there is something called the weighted average cost of capital, right? So organizations borrow capital. Once they borrow capital, then the finance department within the organization says that, this is what we borrowed as capital, and this is how we'll utilize this capital. We'll probably create some assets, fixed assets, or we'll probably create some service or some product or whatever, and we'll sell it in the market. Okay, and they declare openly that this is the capital that we have acquired, and in their financial statements they declare those things. But a person like me does not understand that. I don't understand that these guys have borrowed capital. I think this is a rich organization. Let me take example of most of these organizations that become bankrupt over a period of time. Let's look at Kingfisher. Okay, Malia ji ran away. If I would have invested in Kingfisher without understanding, just thinking, okay, yeah, a lot of beer is getting sold in the market, not understanding that he's borrowed a lot of capital, and not having that intelligence, my money will go for a toss. Okay, so how to educate people, how to actually give them this insight? So this is one of the things. Then then projects get financed with equity only. They don't get financed with debt, or they don't get financed with other this thing. So are those projects good, or are those organizations good, or are they not a good organization to bet upon? Then beta calculations and leverage calculations. Lot of people do that also, right? So value of a levered firm, value of an unlevered firm, value of debt in a levered firm. All these things are there, right? So all these things, how do people understand them? What do they take this into consideration? Do they not take this into consideration? Then calculating the net present value of the projects or whatever it is that our organization is doing. Okay, how is that done? Why is that done? Then talk about again capital budgeting. So that's the same thing that is just related over there. Then you come to personal finance. On personal finance side, how do I calculate the annual returns of a stock? Am I aware, as a person who's investing, am I aware? Can we provide some kind of intelligence for this person? Can we say, okay, this is how we are calculating these things, and we are offering you a service? Then within that, how do you what is monthly adjusted stock prices? What is growing annuity? What is growing perpetuity? All these things people don't. So if you have a platform, if you offer people a platform, and you say, I am giving you this particular insight, and this is the background study that I have done, and this is how I derive this insight, then people have more confidence in you because they understand the process. Most organizations don't share this process. I go and give my money to somebody who's a fund manager. The fund manager says, okay, fine, I'll ask you 5 questions. What's your age? How many children do you have? How much do you want to save for their education? What do you want to do? This you want to do, that you want to do. How many loans do you have? When do you want to retire? After retirement, what do you want as your annual income, your quarterly income, or whatever? They will ask you 10, 20 different questions. After that, they'll do some calculation. They'll say, okay, fine, you invest in this mutual fund. And I'm like, why? How did you choose that? Can you give me a guarantee that I'll end up? No, there is no guarantee. So that's all market dependent. And I know some of these people personally. Okay, some of them are personal friends of mine. When I tell them, I give you 1 lakh rupees, can you guarantee that you will give me this much? They will never ever do anything of this sort. And people, that's the reason most people don't really trust these guys, and then they end up taking half educated decisions. When you take a half educated decision, you probably end up landing into trouble, right? So there's a lot of people who are landing into trouble like that. So we want to kind of help those people. Then what is a firm worth? So this is what Dhairya said. What is a firm worth? So there are people who are business appraisers who say, we will appraise the business, we will try and understand what is the net present value of future cash flows of this organization, right? So that is a very simple way of saying how much cash flow will come into this organization, how much revenue they will generate, and what is the net present value of that? In the sense, is there something which is a laid out path? Is there a well-defined cash flow which is happening today, which might increase tomorrow or decrease tomorrow, and can we actually calculate all that? So are there calculations for that? Then okay.
So Rohit, does that mean that they have a recurring revenue for a product or something like that?
Yeah. So some of them are stable businesses.
Yeah.
like Hindustan Lever is there. So Hindustan Lever, if you want to understand how they work, and so the things that they are selling are basically dependent on how much more they end up producing. So whatever they produce gets consumed. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a stable business. Look at Tata Steel. Look at some of these. The unicorn term has been coined now, but some of these are cash cows, so to say. They produce constant revenue at a very constant rate of things. Yeah, Dharya.
I want to add that there in the evaluation we have to have industry specific categorization, because there are some industries like you said, Hindustan Unilever, they'll be having separate type of model, and a Tata Steel will have a capital intensive model. So we need to make industry specific or industry categorized models for ourselves, to tell people that see, this is the industry average, and this is how your company which you have selected is working on it, and how is it performing.
Yes, absolutely right. You cannot compare people who are in some kind of capital intensive business versus people who are in a non capital intensive business. That's right. And also on the balance sheets, people who have a lot of assets which are there. So let's compare, say, maybe DLF as a builder versus somebody else who's just started off right now, but might be selling a lot of houses. But again, DLF might be having a larger land bank. So if I want to invest in the long term, I'll feel more safe with DLF than with somebody else, because the market of the house, this thing might go up and down and things like that, residential or whatever commercial property. So yeah, all those things have to be considered, right? So yes, uh, then again. Then what are the dividend payments? How is the organization viewed by the investors? What are the investors actually expecting, and what are they getting? How will that and that is where Shubham's this thing domain, so to say, comes into play, that the investors will go and change their opinion about the organization also basis what is happening in social media, and getting that social media pulse. And Shubham probably he's not shared everything. I sent him almost 10 50 sorry 5 6 this thing research papers on this, and specifically how people are basically looking at stock and sentiment analysis and all. It's not so simple. It's not just running a very simple sentiment analysis in a dummy data set or something and getting the sentiment out of it. People are using very very advanced things. People have gone beyond BERT and all these things also. So we are at a very very we are at a very let me say a very bacha state of affairs right now. We need to understand all of this, spend some time on this. It will not happen in a few weeks, in a few days, but if we do it properly, it will happen, and if we have focus, it will happen. Right. So yes, that is there. And just like what Dharya shared and what Deepak shared right now, I want your inputs, because I will not be able to catch hold of everything over here. That will not happen. Okay. Then again, things like again, the financial analysts, what are they doing? The future cash flow. Then there is some uncertainty in the valuation. How are they tackling all of that? The balance sheets, the income statements, and all that stuff. Okay. And then financial ratio analysis, which is maybe a trend analysis or a time series analysis. That is one part of it. There is also something called the peer group analysis. So I think that is what Dharya meant. That look at the peer group. Don't compare oranges with apples and stuff like that. And then comparing revenues for some stores and there is something called industry specific ratios, in which there is something again called the same store sales analysis. So let me say that there is a Maruti this thing authorized dealer maybe in Gurugram, and there is a Maruti authorized dealer in some remote area in some place in the northeast. So I obviously cannot compare the performance, and I don't expect to compare the performance of these two stores and say that overall, if you're looking at the performance of Maruti, this is what is happening. We probably want to look at that northeast, maybe Arunachal or somewhere, that person is operating out of, and we look at his every quarter revenue or his annual revenue, and then understand how that particular store is performing, and do a separate analysis for the one in Gurugram. Maybe the one in Gurugram you can compare to the one in Bangalore, or maybe the one in Bombay, but you obviously can't compare over there. So yeah, all that stuff needs to be built in and looked at. Okay, now coming to the Python part of it. There is something called the and I'll share this with. There is something called the Bartlett's test for variance. Okay, so I know that some people are doing this Bartlett's test for variance in an Excel sheet. They're also doing it in R as a standalone this thing. So I'm a standalone analyst, and I end up doing this. But would they not prefer a productized version of it, which is done in Python? So maybe they can also compare larger data sets. Yeah, Divyansh said yes, Mank. Yes, of course, Divyansh, that is correct. So when things fail, because of what reasons can they fail? Okay, then there is something called the in stock price this thing returns itself. There is something called the January effect. Now this is what happens in time series. So the time series part of it, the seasonality part of it, the trend part of it, if we understand all those things, then we will see that there is some things there, and time series is the most critical thing maybe for finance, but not only just for evaluation of a particular stock, but also for doing various things in finance. And that's what I said after the time series session that day with Tejas. That time series will become the most critical thing for us to understand. If we don't understand neural networks, or if we don't understand support vector machines right now for this particular project, we will survive. That is okay. But we need to understand time series. We need to understand some of these, financial domain algorithms and things like that. Then again, the variance, covariance metrics and all that stuff. So this Akshat and me were discussing the other day for churn analysis, for survival analysis. But this also plays a very critical part within finance. So whatever we have learned, whatever we have done separately, either right now for digital cognition or for our learning sessions, or whatever is there, that's all preparation for a project like pyFinTrader. So that is where all of this will get actually practically implemented, so to say. Yeah. So this is all that I had to share, and it's been a long call. Now, absolutely anything that you want to discuss, anything that you want to ask me.
So, Rohit, I don't have any question, but I have a suggestion maybe. So basically, I think we should create a Excel sheet where we collect all the parameters that would affect the price of a stock at any point of time, and then details of those parameters, how they are going, what is the correlation of those, the stock price and that particular variable. And that would also give us, so these variables may be from like any personal finance, corporate finance, like whatever we have discussed till now. So this will give us a list of all the factors that would affect the stock prices, and we can add to this list, and we can also, this would give us some understanding what all things which are affecting the stock price.
Perfect. Yeah, we can do that.
This can be a starting point. Yeah.
No, the starting point will be what we've already discussed, and I discussed that with you also. So there'll be three different things over here, three very, very clear different things. The first thing is that we all will come back with our this thing 10 point bucket list. That where is it that we will go? Like Shubham has already started doing it. I can understand, because he came up with that organization's name. I think Shubham, what was that? IQ Plum or something?
IQ Broker.
IQ Broker. Okay. That is good. IQ broker. Now there is something called QPlum. I think QPlum or 1 second. Give me a second. It's a startup started by Indians only, and I think around 4 or 5 years back. Um, yeah, QPlum. If you look at it on LinkedIn, I'll just share the link here with all of you. Okay, QPlum. And so these guys, what they're doing is they declare very openly saying that they're doing wealth management powered by AI. Okay, and there are only 4 people on LinkedIn in today's date, but that's okay. Their founding members, I don't see the founding members here. Anyways, that's okay. But like QPlum, there are a lot of other organizations who are there who've been doing this. Okay, and what it's called, the term that is used nowadays is robo advisor. Okay, so if you Google robo advisor, financial robo advisor, okay, or robo advisory, okay, uh, robo advisory, then you'll understand one part of it, what we are trying to do. So that robo advisory is the first part. Okay, once that first part is put into place, we already are competing with some of the top people in the world. If we put the first part into place, that is what I'm saying. Fine. The next thing is the tally for finance. Okay, and that is where Deepak and me discussed tally yesterday. The next thing is tally for finance. When I say tally, whatever it is that we can offer to a finance department to ease their job, to make their job easier, and there are many things we can do there. Okay, so this finance department tally is what we will start actually coding first, because this robo advisor part of it will still take some research, and we will do that research together. So it's not as if one person is doing it or 2 people are doing it. We'll all do it together. But the actual coding part of it will be the again, I don't want to call it tally for finance, but part of the pyFinTrader, the platform. Okay, and the third thing which will happen is that again, I used that term which was business appraisal. Okay, business appraisers. So business appraisers. So how to appraise a business? How to basically end up doing some fundamental analysis on a particular business and automate that part of it. So when I say automate, so to give you a very simple example, if you go on moneycontrol.com right now, if you go on moneycontrol.com, 1 second, moneycontrol.com, okay, and if you look at any of the organizations, you want to look at the balance sheet and the financial performance and things like that, you can do that yourself. Okay, you can look at that organization's whatever is declared financial statements and all, and once you do that, then you can reach some kind of conclusion saying that whether I want to invest in this organization or not. And just like Dharya said, then you can also look at an industry and all these things you can do yourself. Why not automate that process? And what is the challenge in automating that process? Money Control does not create the balance sheets. Okay, balance sheets come to Money Control from somewhere. So that is the second thing.
Can I add?
Yeah, Dharya, please.
So balance sheets and cash flow statements, all of these things are it's supposed to be publicized by the company as per the SEBI rules. So it's all every quarterly they release their balance sheets and every stuff that is required as per SEBI.
Yeah, go ahead. You talk about this. I want to understand this from you. I'm going on mute.
Yes, so every company which is listed on the stock exchange, they have to get go through certain guidelines by SEBI, that is the regulatory authority uh, that is controlling the stock market and analyze and giving the rule books to every company to work. So according to them, according to the rules, every company which is listed and which is going to list is supposed to provide the balance sheets and quarterly results, so that so that these peoples can make right decisions according to their according to the company's performance. So if the company is telling that, okay, we are going to take a long term loan that is more than 18 months, more than 18 months to pay back that loan, so we'll be analyzing that category of that company. Okay, see, it's taking loan, so we'll be analyzing how is it going to utilize that loan. So if we take an example in the case of DMart, if DMart is taking loan, that it's going to take a very large amount of speculation that what is the use of long term loans for DMart, because DMart works on asset light model, and they are sorry for the VGuard, they are working on asset light model, and they are not making any kind of copper wires or any stabilizers by their own more than 10% of their company's output. So we analyze it as per that situation. So it is everything is almost publicly available. We just need to take like that uh, the uh, the part in which we used a text analysis and text mapping part, like you discussed earlier. We can use that.
Excellent, Dharya. Excellent. Thank you so much. So see, just to put it in our our understanding terms, pick up information from there, pass it through a rule-based this thing script, understand. But the point is again the same. Everybody's balance sheet is not published in the same format. So there'll be certain, again, just like our patent documents, we are looking at key value, key value, key value. Once that key value mapping is done, then you end up standardizing the ingress part of it. So once that is done, there's a rule based script which is there, which will just like what Dharya said right now. So that analysis part of it has to get automated, right? So the domain knowledge that people have, let's say I have the domain knowledge, I'll understand that yes, if a person has taken long term loan, I need to basically not really prefer this particular organization, or if I do prefer this particular organization, then maybe I'm preferring this organization and balancing out that it has got it's got some kind of assets which will balance out, and I give more weightage to that, or I give less weightage to this, and all of this is actually written very clearly in most of the corporate finance books. So we will have to understand that. We will have to discuss with, say, Dharya and others who are domain experts in this, and then we will just create a rule-based, flow. Once we've created the rule-based flow, by the end of it, the result that we get from that flow will be, please go ahead and invest in this, or don't go ahead and invest in this, right? And once that is done, we need to put a front end to it and give it out as an offering. That's about it. So the very high level picture is this. Of course, there'll be a whole lot of other things that we will have to do in this. There might be at least 100 different methods that we might have to write. That's a different story altogether. But this is what we are trying to automate. So this is ultimately what it is. Any other questions that anybody has, or any suggestions that you have, then we can close the call. We will have to do many calls on this, and our understanding is still at a very, very infancy level, so to say. So let's see what can be done.
Rohit, if you want me to introduce you with some ratios, I can introduce it in the tomorrow session.
There is no hurry,
5, 6
Dharya.
ratios.
There is
Okay.
no hurry. Tomorrow you just do what you've planned. Now you've understood what we are trying to do. You have understood that everybody else understands the statistics part of it, the coding part of it, the machine learning part of it. We don't understand the finance domain. So you are the only person who understands the finance domain in the entire group. You help us understand those things, and according to your direction, whatever it is that you tell us, the rest of us, we will code it. Fine. So that's a very clear understanding. I've had this understanding with you right from the beginning. My first call with you, from that time, this is our understanding, right? So you give the domain expertise. Whatever it is that you give as domain expertise, we will automate it. We will code it. So that is not a challenge.
Okay.
Perfect. So anybody has any questions for maybe Dhere or for me, or anything that you want to discuss now? Varun?
No, that's good enough for now. I think most of the learning will happen in tomorrow's session when Harry will be explaining in detail.
No, no. Another thing, Varun. See, your and my history on this project. We both initially started off with imaging. Then most of the guys, they did not show interest enough. I know it can be very frustrating for you because uh, uh, I almost promised you so many things that time, saying that we will do this, we will do that, and those things failed because people did not take interest enough. I can understand that. I am sorry for that. Now I am again pulling you into this project, and there are so many people. There are 9 people on this call right now. There'll be others who will understand this, and we will start working on this. This is not imaging. It is not so difficult. Okay, it's not as difficult as imaging. So these things are much simpler. I will request more participation from you, because I understand earlier you had interest in imaging, that thing bounced off, then your health was not okay. So I will request more participation from you, and we will ensure that whatever it is that you require as help, uh, uh, rest of us will give that. So what I'm trying to explain on this call is that Dharya becomes the domain expert, and Varun Singhal and Deepak Sharma and Shubham and Akshat and okay, I don't know if Divyansh is already into all of these things or not. But Rohan has already expressed his interest. We all have expressed our interest. That's the reason we are on this call. Okay. Let's participate as much as we can. Otherwise, again, it will feel like imaging. Imaging has failed. There's nothing happening on it. And 3 of you are here from the initial imaging this thing. That is Utkarsh, Aviroop, and Varun. That guy came in. There's one guy whom I introduced. He was God knows what he was trying to do. So, any which ways, that is my mistake also. Uh,
True, I understand. So we'll try to achieve as much as possible with understanding. So we'll be asking a lot of questions from Dhare. So Dhare, please bear with us.
Varun,
Yeah.
tomorrow session is not going to be more financial stuff, but it's going to be like the R values and root mean square values. How do we interpret them?
Varun,
In
sorry, Varun and Dhere, don't worry about this. There's enough, there's enough things to do right now. So even if we don't really reach that, extreme knowledge and gyan, ki we become, the domain experts on finance immediately, that is okay. We can still live with that for maybe another month, month and a half. But don't worry, that will happen. So immediately, maybe tomorrow onwards itself, tasks specific to pyFinTrader itself, I will start allocating. And you come back to me in case you don't understand something, that Rohit, how this links to something in some domain or whatever. You don't have to worry too much, okay? And don't trouble Dharya immediately. I will take responsibility of that, and I'll make sure that everybody is on the same page and we understand those things. Yeah, I need your
That's fine.
yeah, I need your commitment in time. The rest, we had a very detailed discussion, I think today morning or yesterday morning. So you don't worry too much about things, right, Varun?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, sounds good.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, so Varun is okay. Utkarsh, Shubham, anything? Rohan, Divyansh. I'm just starting off from the bottom. I can just see your names like that. I think alphabetically, that's how it is. Rohan, Divyansh, anything you guys want to discuss right now?
So like the session for me was like I took commerce in class 11th and 12th and I finished in 1 hour. So it'll take some time for me to grab all these things, all the stuff that we discussed, and yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Okay, Divyansh, don't worry. It will not take so much time. Most of things will be quite clear to us very soon. So yeah, Rohan, perfect, great. Dharya, so don't have to worry immediately about too many things. So we'll take it like real slow. Deepak, Aviroop, anything that you want to share? You want to discuss? Any questions?
Yes, Rohit. So I just wanted to say that I think we should change the format of the meeting, as in there should be one format where we discuss a particular project, and there should be another set of meetings where we discuss the update and the next action items. So this would help us monitor the progress on a particular project, because I think I have attended many of the meetings, and mostly excluding the learning sessions. So mostly the meetings are discussions and not an update or what are the future action items. So I think if we have those meetings, that would help us monitor the progress.
Yes, I like this suggestion of yours. Thank you so much, Deepak. This is the second or third suggestion you are giving me. I'm very,
Yeah,
very thankful to you. Okay, wonderful.
yeah.
So yeah, so let's do that. So something like something like a stand-up this thing that happens in what is that term? Yeah, what is that?
Stand-up meeting, maybe stand-up
Yeah. The
scrum, maybe. Are you
yeah
talking
yes
about scrum?
yeah exactly. So all of us are used to that, right? So that is ultimately what we are supposed to be doing, wherein we just maybe take 5 minutes to answer these three questions: what am I doing right now, do I need any
Yes.
help, and what am I trying to do in the next few days? Yeah, so very three simple questions to answer usually. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Great, great. Deepak, thank you so much. Thanks for reminding me about this. Aviroop, anything? Akshat, anything? Okay.
Sir, just wanted to know who here has expertise about time series. Because I don't have, to be frank. I haven't worked with time series data.
Time series, mostly everybody must have worked with, yeah. How come you haven't worked?
I have not worked, to be frank.
So, Avirup, I don't think it's a challenge. I think we can have. We have had a session on this, and I think we can have more for broader, like deep understanding of this. So maybe someone can take
No. See,
this.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll be very
So
straightforward. One second,
I
one
like to
second.
explain what time series like generally means. It'll be very so basically you've seen like a heart pulse, right? Heart monitor. So the pulses are real time basically, right? So a time series data analysis is basically nothing but real time monitoring of data and having real time analysis on that data. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, means what I have
And
to be
Aviroop, one
to be
second.
frank is that
Aviroop.
yes, sir.
Uh, why are there only 11 people on this call? Why aren't there more people? There are a lot of people. No, I didn't invite them. Why? I have not invited everybody on this call. No, I've just invited around 14, 15 people. Why? Otherwise, usually I send an invite to all 40, 50 who are there. That's the reason that I'm expecting all of you to I'll say it openly. I'm expecting you guys to be better than the others, right? So don't please say things like, I'm not aware what is time series and all that. We are supposed to be aware what is time series. Tejas session on time series was just because I saw something. He posted something on Medium, on his college blog with time series. So I just thought, okay, maybe just to get the guy used to our way of doing things, and just to make him comfortable in this thing. I told him to do a time series session. He said, I'll do it. Why do you expect that somebody, and again, today also somebody was asking me a question somewhere, I don't know, that what all will I get to learn and things like that. This stuff is basic stuff for us, right? And there's leaving aside this group of 11, there are at least 1 million people out there who have created content on time series, have put tutorials, have put videos on YouTube and all that. You please learn from there and come back and say, yeah, I've already done it, and let's get things going. We have to get out of this spoon feeding and learning mode. Now, look at the guys on this call. Yeah, I don't expect any one of you to be in a situation to say ki, yaar, mere ko ye seekhna hai. None of you is in that situation. That's why you are on this call. I have not invited others. That is good enough to say now that what level I consider you to be, and you can't just back off and say, nahi, yaar, I am not that level. I'm trusting you with something, right? So that's what it is. Anything else, anything that, and hold on, even if, okay, you say that, okay, fine, now it is our responsibility to learn it on our own, which is not a good thing. So maybe, Rohit or Dharya or somebody should help us out. That is okay. So we'll do it. Not an issue. That's not such a big deal. But you understand what respect I am giving you by calling only you on this call and not the others. Because I understand they might be struggling with some of these basic things. And I understand you won't be struggling with those things. Right? Avirup, are you okay with what I'm saying? Avirup?
Yes, sir, I'm completely okay. Yes, sir, I'm completely okay.
Yeah. So please, respect my trust in you. I trust in you. Seriously, I'm telling you. It's not a joke. Okay, perfect. So, fine. Thank you so much. And if no other questions, we can disconnect now. And don't worry, very soon we'll do most of these things again, and don't have to feel lost. Don't have to feel lost. We will not do something which will make you feel lost. I will not throw something at you and just, it's not like picking you up and throwing you in the swimming pool deep end and saying, oh, sorry, I didn't ask you, you don't know how to swim. That will not happen here. Okay, don't have to worry too much about that. Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. I did not expect that we will have such a wonderful discussion. I'm so thankful to all of you for being here and participating, and thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Rohit.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you.
Yeah.